Welcome, everybody, to another Friday at Sports Community Live Streaming. I'm Steve Pallas. Friday means two things today. One is obviously Esports Friday, and two, Richmond play in a final tonight. So we're all very excited, aren't we? Cameron Osterland, Sports Community's Esport guru. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing yellow today to honor the Tigers. Obviously, there's nothing else, no other motivation there.
Well, you're two. I mean, you have many sporting passions, but two of your sporting passions are on my screen right now. One is your Rocket League, and two is the Matildas. And you're wearing the Matildas jumper and or jersey, or in. I thought it was in honor of the fact that they've appointed a coach finally.
Yeah, no, I just like to wear jerseys on. It's Friday, isn't Friday meant to be Jersey Day? I was surprised to not see you wearing your Tigers gear today for finals fever. Are you not like raring to go?
I am. I've had a couple of text messages with my daughter, just counting down the hours to kind of 10 to 8 tonight. It is an exciting time of the year, and a bit of an interesting bit of trivia that before we get into esports, but my Facebook told me that 10 years ago today, I had one of my greatest days of sports consumption. I was in Washington at an ice hockey game, and then went straight from the ice hockey game to watch the grand final replay of the AFL. So yes, it's amazing how fast the world happens and what happens in 10 years. But today, Cam, let's get back on script. Esports Friday. Rocket League is free. I'm not sure who talks about their passion more, me talking about Richmond or you talking about Rocket League.
Yeah, well, I play a lot of Rocket League, so I don't know. How much footy do you play? Maybe that's why.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
anyway,
we've spoken about Rocket League a bit because I feel like it's one of the more easier to understand esports when you're coming from a world of sport and not understanding the esports world. So I feel like it's a really good example in that case. But why I wanted to talk about it today is that in the last week, Rocket League has gone completely free to play. So you no longer need to make any kind of purchase other than having a console of some sort to play Rocket League, which opens the door and removes some barriers to a lot of people. And we saw that with the first few days of use. The player base of Rocket League went from I was just keeping some tabs on what the player base was like a couple of weeks ago, and the average amount of people during a peak time of consumption of Rocket League was about 250,000 people at online playing the game at any one time
around the world,
all around the world. Mm-hmm. Today, right now, I think it's about 800,000. It's gone. But we've seen it peak at about 1.9 million people around the world 1 week after going free to play. So I thought it was a really good thing to talk about in that sense, because we've also got a new release, the old FIFA game coming out in about a week's time. I think it's depending on where you get it from, it's either the 6th to the 9th of October, so roughly a week. And this is a game that comes out almost like clockwork every single year, and you've got to fork out anywhere between $70 and $100 just to be able to play it. Rocket League has been around for 5 years. They don't release a new version of the game every year. It's just Rocket League. So you buy the game once and you continue to play it forever. I spent, I think, about $30 to buy it about 5 years ago when it came out, and now it's free. So opening the avenues for clubs to potentially have a tinker with it, risk-free almost, with the exception of needing to have some sort of console. But another thing to another reason why I like to talk about Rocket League is the cross-platform compatibility that they offer, where you can play on your computer, you can play on a PlayStation, you can play on an Xbox, and you can play on a Nintendo Switch, and doesn't matter what you're on, they are all compatible with each other. So I could give you a Switch, Steve. I could be here playing on my computer. I could have a buddy call in on a PlayStation, and we can all play in the same game together. So Rocket League really removes a lot of these barriers. But the last big reason why I wanted to talk about Rocket League, having it open up free opens clubs up to the opportunity of playing their own tournament and hosting their own tournament. So we have the built-in, there you go, 770,000 people online right now around the world, which is probably starting to get to the off-peak time for gaming around the world as Australia wakes up and the rest of the world starts to go to bed. Yeah. But in Rocket League, we have the player structure, which I won't go into too much detail, but this is sort of like the game modes within the game. Then you go to this little tournament button. We've got a Rocket League hosted tournament coming up that they're promoting here that starts this evening. So probably about, would that be 8 o'clock tonight? I'll probably play in that. But also what we can do is create our own tournament. I've done one right up here. I've got it ready. It's popping up because I set it to start at something like 11:30 today. We can create a free-to-play tournament that anyone around the world could join, which is what a lot of these are. They're people all around the world making their own little tournaments. Got 11 out of 32 people in this one, for example. Oh, it's getting up to 17. So they've got it's not really like any kind of interaction going to be happening because it's not really hosted anywhere. But what you also can do is make your own with a private name. What shall we call it? SC Esport and a password. And then, oh, sorry, I'm trying to join one. I didn't make it. We can then set that up for our club. So we could have a 1v1 tournament with 32 of our best players, and nobody has to do anything. You just set this up, thing like that. You create it, you give it a password, and now it's made. And now you just tell everybody, hey, come and join this. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to create the brackets. You don't have to organize who plays who. The game does everything for you. You just get everybody to come and join it, and then they play. And then you crown a winner. And that's it. So that's why I wanted to kind of talk about it, because it's really giving you everything you need from basically the game that you're going to be playing all the way through to all of the structure and infrastructure you need to be able to run some competitions within your club or even within your community.
Okay, so I'm spinning a bit here, Ken, which is really cool. So let's go back. Oh well, let's start with the accountants. Accountant by trade. How are they going to make money? How do you then make the game sustainable? Because there's a rule in life that says if something's free digitally,
you're the product.
You're the product. Exactly. So
there's the first question: how does Rocket League make money? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes, because and why do we need to make money? Because if someone's got to maintain it and develop it and yep. It costs money to do that. So user pays is really the way we do it. So help me out here.
Yep. So before I directly answer the question, let me answer it indirectly. Fortnite. You know Fortnite, right? You've heard of it.
Yes, you've spoken of it. First-person shooter.
Fortnite is one of the current biggest esports going around. They're probably experiencing a bit of a lull in popularity because a lot of the esports events have been altered because of COVID. But Fortnite has been one of the most popular esport competitions of the last couple of years. Fortnite is free to play. The company that runs Fortnite is worth $450 million. So,
right. But
they're making money, right? Does that kind of... So I'm indirectly saying there's plenty of money to be made because these guys are hosting $1 million competitions with a game that's free to play. How do they do that? It's through something called microtransactions. So within the game, I should be able to show you actually within the game itself. Rocket League, just because it's free to play doesn't mean I can't buy stuff. they've got an item shop. These are in-game transactions. I can buy a car. I can buy some fancy little things that make no difference to how the game plays and how the competition works. So there's no competitive advantage through any of this. It's all cosmetic. Through the cars, the wheels, you've got decals that you can put on your car and change how it looks. All of these cost a little bit of money. And there's an in-game currency called credits. That's what this little blue thing is. And these blue symbols here. And you can buy credits. So you buy 500 credits for $7.25 Australian, or you can buy heaps of credits for $72. So within the game, they make it fun to spend money, basically. It's a very similar system within Fortnite as well, where nothing that you can buy will change the outcome of any game. It's all cosmetic. It's all about adding your own kind of flavor. So this is one of my cars that I've kind of put my own flavor on and my own personality. Just so happens that this is, I guess, the Tigers. That's a complete fluke. Complete fluke that's happened. But all of this sort of stuff, you can unlock a lot of it. I've spent probably in the last 5 years about $150 on Rocket League, but I only bought the game for $30. For me, that's still been a really high amount of value because I did some maths on it the other day. The amount of time I've put into the game, which I can track with Steam, and the amount of money I've put in gives me a rough figure of about 10 hours for every $1 I've spent. 10 hours of entertainment that I enjoy a lot for every $1. So it's been very valuable for me, but they've still managed to get $150 out of me.
Yeah,
so
you're talking a million people at any given one time.
Yeah. So I actually think this is something that EA Sports with FIFA should be looking at soon. And I can't believe it's taken them this long to do it. This price point of $100 is a massive barrier, especially when they still have microtransactions within the game. There's like player trading mechanics and card systems where you spend money on in-game currency within FIFA as well. So, I think that within probably the next few years, I think FIFA might actually end up going along a very similar path. Because I think it really is the way most of the world is going with this sort of thing.
All right. That explains the commercial side. So that's great. So then let's flick it back to so what you're saying now, and if I can just start it from a personal perspective, where tonight I will have to go home and do everything I can to either avoid the SingStar that's on the Switch, or thankfully we've migrated. My daughters have progressed to Mario Kart and also the Olympic Games one. But so what you're saying is that I could just get my girls to start playing Rocket League for free. So that's one thing. So that's I like that concept.
And,
okay.
And you've already got the infrastructure there. You wouldn't so if you've got a Switch, you've got a console at home, there's nothing more that you need to do.
All right. We might talk about that separately outside here. But over the last couple of days, we've been running and the next week or next month or so, and really all the way to the end of the year and then into next year, because COVID's going to be around for 12 months, give or take. We've been running training sessions on clubs about how to not only survive COVID, but thrive. And the underlying theme really is meaningful connections, keeping meaningful connections with individuals within the club. So there's a myriad of ways to do that. But one of the ways that some organizations are struggling to do is to create meaningful connections that allow the competitive juices to flow. Because some people are, they enjoy competition, and lockdown has taken that away. And so what we're saying is that, pretty much most families, or a vast majority of families, have got one of those platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo Switch. So you are genuinely right, Cam, that this is a really good option for clubs to be creating all sorts of different competitions as just another way to be connecting. So just joining a few of our sessions together, can we broadcast, if we're running a competition, can we broadcast that, or is that where it gets a bit complex in those discussions with Chris Smith that we had earlier on?
Yeah, no, you can. There is some barriers with the broadcasting. The infrastructure in place is still being improved from a Rocket League standpoint. So me as the host of a tournament within here, when I go to the actual structure, I can go into the tournament, click on one of these. If I'm hosting this, I can, once it starts, I can actually go in and watch some of the games, but it's not perfect. It does kind of have some issues that they're trying to iron out after going free to play. But that would be me watching some other people play as a spectator. And then just as I'm doing right now, I could, I might just jump in that just for funsies. I could potentially be, doing the exact thing that I'm doing now and just watching someone else play as the club. So if I'm the club right now, I'm broadcasting my screen, watching some other people participate. And I can showcase that if I wanted. The alternative is I could get some of the players within the tournament to do that on my behalf. If you've got some really keen gamers within the club that have some personality and they love to get out there, then you could get them to do it on your behalf. And I think that opens some risk, obviously, because you're putting your players as kind of representatives of your club. But I think in some examples it's a good option for you. So it does add a layer of complexity, but it's certainly very doable. It can definitely be done.
Nice. Nice. That's
But yeah, as you see, we've got the different platforms. The Epic Store is where you'll get it on the computer. Nintendo, free download. Xbox, free download. PlayStation, free download. So really, the only thing that we're talking about as something that's stopping people from getting into this kind of thing is the consoles themselves. And when we already know that there's a good number of people that have them already, we're not really asking many people to do anything else. So it's very low risk.
It is. Cam, I think I'm going to add this into the webinars, training courses, as just another example of how people can stay connected. And again, COVID, if we take away the whole COVID is a deadly virus of infectious disease and a deadly virus, and just set that aside for one moment, what COVID is a disruptor, and it allows us to look at things differently. So, again, why wouldn't we be looking at as a club to be even in the off season running these sorts of activities, just to keep that connection between the players and the club, the individuals and themselves, the competitive juices going, for those that want to compete, those that want to do it socially. I'm sure there's formats and you can create tournaments, etc. for that. So yeah, it's and there might be a bit in that sports community Rocket League tournament, Cam. How many was the biggest number of people that could be entered into this into any competition at any one time?
It's somewhere between 62. Oh, there you go. You can have a bracket of up to 128.
Same size as the
I think
grand
that's teams as well.
So
that's teams. So you could have up to 128 teams of 4 potentially.
Oh. We're joining round 1 to something, Cam.
Oh yeah, I've just randomly just joined a tournament that I'll probably have to forfeit immediately. But yeah, so that's kind of how it works. I've joined a tournament in the background. It's setting up the bracket and it's pulled me into it already. So I haven't had to do anything. I'll give this guy a win. There you go. He's just advanced to the next one. But yeah, it sets up brackets. I wish I could have shown you how that worked, but it's not so simple when you're not in one.
Yeah.
But yeah, they so it creates that whole structure of can I click on it? No. So the thing that we've had to do in spreadsheets or tried to outsource to other sorts of platforms where you can enter the teams and then figure out who's got to play who and all that kind of stuff. So this removes all of that hassle as well, which is just that added bonus.
Wow, that's great, Cam. Anything else for us today on Esports Friday and the first week of the AFL finals, NRL finals, netball finals? There's a few other finals going on around the country.
Yeah, it's busy. There's Rocket League finals as well. If you want to watch some live Rocket League on the weekend.
Well, if I did want to do that, where would I be heading? I'd be heading to Twitch.
Yeah, just head to Twitch. I think if I just go there quickly, I can probably show you. And you just look for Rocket League. They have the channel. If you search Rocket League on Twitch, it's also on YouTube as well. If it's live, it'll pop up, but otherwise you'll see a whole bunch of people that are playing it at the moment. But they're not live right now, so you can't see them. But this is the game, but they also, as the owners of the game, they can then go live through that platform. So if you're following the game, you'll know that the official Rocket League guys are live, and they've had some good competition over the last few weeks. They've been going through the European stages of the current season, which is season 10 in their 5th year, which is pretty cool.
Brilliant. All right, Cam. Well, until next week, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and the changes in the world. I'm hoping next week that we'll be able to have a guest on who's doing the virtual Sydney to Melbourne marathon. Ironically, not unsurprisingly, really, he might have injured himself yesterday, but
oh no.
But so he's in a virtual competition and he's got a physical injury, so work that out. But we'll get him on next week, and we'll find out what drives these people and what creates these communities, or help us understand what creates these really passionate virtual communities. So until next week, I'm Steve Pallas. Oh, jeepers, I'm Steve Pallas. He's Cameron Ustalin, and thank you so much for being part of our sports community.